9-methyl-beta-carboline, a novel nootropic to supercharge the dopamine system. In today's video, what we'll do is uncover the miraculous benefits of a compound that 98% of the population has probably never heard of, and that is 9-methyl-beta-carboline, which is a modern nootropic for dopamine enhancement. Now, just bear in mind that this information depicted in this particular presentation is purely for informational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare professional before making any changes to your lifestyle or routine. You should consult your physician about any interactions between medications you are taking and nutritional supplements. So, what is 9-MBC? 9-MBC is a nootropic agent and research chemical with a pronounced action on the brain with multifaceted applications. But unlike other nootropics, 9-MBC has long-lasting effects in the brain. Although it is subjectively felt acutely, it works via upgrading the infrastructure for dopamine and neurovascular function to support cognitive enhancement. So how was it discovered?
9-MBC was first identified as a potential neuroprotective agent in 2008 by researchers in Germany, although there were studies conducted on this compound many years prior. It was initially found to be of interest due to its ability to upregulate tyrosine hydroxylase, the enzyme responsible for converting the amino acid L-tyrosine into the dopamine precursor, L-DOPA, and thus create more dopamine in the brain.
What about the key features of 9-MBC? Well, 9-MBC has a direct influence on the dopamine system, specifically targeting dopamine neuronal health via stimulation, protection, regeneration, restoration, repair, and revitalization. Now, just bear in mind, if you do want to optimize your dopamine system and you're interested in trying natural compounds to do so, I highly recommend you check the link in the video description down below for my new supplement that's just been released called Catwa Pure. You'll see that linked in the video description down below. It's a novel herbal extract sourced from Brazil that has some amazing effects on supporting mood, libido, and also energy. So definitely check that out, as it does appear to have some preliminary research to suggest that it does work on the dopamine system. And that's under the brand, my new brand, In Before. So it's In Before Sups. So check that out. In terms of main uses for 9-MBC, well, within the nootropic and smart drug community, 9-MBC has been used for reversing stimulant tolerance, restoring sensitivity to dopaminergics, recovering from drug abuse, increasing motivation, enhancing attention and focus, increasing mood, and also increasing libido. So how does it work?
9-MBC interacts with pathways of tyrosine hydroxylase regulation, including the FGF receptor PKA-PKC and possibly the PI3-KAAT pathway. Unexpectedly, 9-methylcarboline is taken up via the dopamine transporter and increase the cell number of dopaminergic neurons, while these additional tyrosine hydroxylase immunoreactive neurons originated exclusively from non-proliferative, pre-existing dopa decarboxylase positive neurons. The stimulatory properties of 9-MBC were partly reversible when 9-MBC was withdrawn. Protein and gene expression of tyrosine hydroxylase, as well as gene expression of tyrosine hydroxylase relevant transcription factors, was increased after 9-MBC treatment. Even when 9-MBC was administered chronically, it exerted no neurotoxic effects. 9-MBC induces neurite growth via NCAM and/or the EGF receptor. Gene expression of various neurotrophic factors, which are important for the survival of dopaminergic neurons for their neurite outgrowth, and which also exert protective and regenerative properties against various toxins, were increased after 9-MBC treatment. 9-MBC improved and protected cell metabolism by interacting with complex 4, and as a result increasing the complex 1 activity of the respiratory chain and ATP content, as well as decreasing apoptotic cell signals. Degenerating dopaminergic neurons were regenerated by treatment with 9-MBC in vitro and in vivo experiments respectively.
Now, what about the mechanism of action in terms of 9-MBC?
9-MBC upregulates, differentiates, and protects dopaminergic neurons, dendrites, and synapses, especially in the substantia nigra of the midbrain and in the hippocampus. It's been shown to increase dopamine synthesis, increase neurotrophins, neurotrophic factors, and decrease apoptic signals. It decreases inflammation, preventing microglia proliferation and chemokine release, protecting against lipopolysaccharide toxicity, and reducing lactate dehydrogenase. It also potentially reduces asynuclein, the aggregation of which form insoluble fibrils like Lewy bodies, one of the causes of some neurodegenerative disorders like PD and Alzheimer's disease. It also increases tyrosine hydroxylase expression and its transcription factors and interacts with tyrosine kinases. Tyrosine hydroxylase converts L-tyrosine to L-dopa, needed for the synthesis of the catecholamines, especially dopamine. It shows MAOB inhibition properties, preventing the formation of neurotoxic substances like DOPAC, oxydopamine, and MPDP plus MPP plus, the major cause of dopaminergic neurons death. 9-MBC increases, protects, recovers the NADH dehydrogenase, which catalyzes the transfer of electrons between NADH and CoQ10, enhancing the mitochondrial respiration chain. Finally, 9-MBC may increase ATP.
Now, what about looking at the exploration of the effects? So looking at what sort of effects are felt following the use of 9-MBC.
Following up on their discovery, this same group of researchers tested the effects of 9-MBC in vivo by administering the drug intraperitoneally to rats for either 5 or 10 days, and testing their performance in the well-known spatial learning task, the radial arm maze. Additional tests of neuroanatomy and neurotransmitter levels were also performed on these rats, which were compared to both their non-treated and saline-treated counterparts. Remarkably, the 9-MBC treatment significantly improved radial arm maze performance in the rats after 10 days. This was accompanied by increased levels of dopamine in the hippocampus, as well as enhanced dendritic formations in this same region.
Now let's look at a research article snapshot. This article here was titled "The Exceptional Properties of 9-MBC, Stimulation, Protection, and Regeneration of Dopaminergic Neurons coupled with anti-inflammatory effects." This next study here was titled "9-methylbeta-carbolene-induced cognitive enhancement is associated with elevated hippocampal dopamine levels and dendritic and synaptic proliferation." This study here was titled "Stimulation, Protection, and Regeneration of Dopaminergic Neurons by 9-methylbeta-carbolene, a new anti-Parkinson drug." And so what are the main benefits?
9-MBC may enhance mood, cognition, learning, and memory, both working and long-term, and spatial memory. It is potentially neuroprotective, especially in the hippocampus and the midbrain. It restores motivation and finally may assist with the recovery of dopamine-induced damage from illicit drugs.
What about anecdotal reports? What have people said about 9-MBC?
I've been using 15 to 30 milligrams once a day in the mornings for only a week now, and my 40 milligrams Vyvanse dosage is back at full throttle. The magic is back. I'm literally back at stage 1 of amphetamine, the drug you love to hate. It's as if I took it for the first time, and honestly, I think I'd prefer dropping to 20 milligrams now. I used to take 80 to 160 milligrams Vyvanse for a while too, so I can attest to the fact that 9-MBC works. It's very easy to source online and has solid benefits too. The only thing I haven't tried is microdosing stims for sensitization, but I'm not willing to take the risk, plus I'm fairly sure that it won't even work as explained in this post. As of right now, I plan to keep using 15 milligrams 9-MBC daily and using 20 to 40 milligrams once a week instead. If I were to rank effectiveness on tolerance reversal and repairing subjective damage from continued AMPH use, it would go 9-MBC, bromontane BPC, 157 the rest. Highly recommended. This stuff instantly erases withdrawals and reverses tolerance. What more could you ask for? Full silver. It does not feel as strongly stimulating, more restorative subjectively, kind of refreshing in a way, difficult to describe. It does have some mild stimulatory and wakefulness promoting effects, but it does not substitute quite as much as, for example, bromontane for stronger stimulation. Also, no jitters like caffeine and no apparent stimulant side effects. The health-related effects have more to do with promoting dopaminergic neuron upkeep, repair, and restoration against oxidative stress, including outright regrowth after extreme oxidative damage from lab-standard neurotoxins in cell plate and rodent experiments. The photomicrographs are astonishing. Reddit Psychonaut finally got around to taking this substance and I'm impressed. Took a 15 milligrams dose sublingually in the afternoon and felt motivated all day. It's the evening now and I'm still feeling stimulated. I know I have very low dopamine, however, so whether or not this works for you probably hinges on this fact. Guest on Longevity. I tried 9MBC back when THT.co was still running. I remember its effects pretty clearly. Best way to sum up its effects are increased attention over a span of say 5 to 7 hours. The kind of attention I could manipulate to get something done. So like I was taking lectures and I found I could just pay complete attention without my attention wandering. It's like selegiline but different. No physical push or excess motivation, just the attention aspect of selegiline. It's also a little like bromantin in a way, but different in that I had control over only one aspect of my cognition, but no natural feeling of motivation. Basically, with 9MBC, even if I had enthusiasm for a mental activity, I could still do it with 9MBC. Basically, with 9MEBC, controlling my attention was like controlling my breathing. Suddenly, I notice I am paying attention, and as soon as that happened, I could hold it, slow it down or speed it up or not think about it, and go on with my day. Chucks87 Reddit member.
What are the commonly used dosages for 9MBC? Now, typically light dosage is between 5 to 10 milligrams, moderate 10 to 30 milligrams, and a high dosage is 50 to 75 milligrams. Now, this is not medical advice. This is purely for research purposes only. And as I said before, there are some side effects that are associated with 9MBC. The first one is photosensitivity. So some people get very sensitive to the sun. There is potential dopamine neurotoxicity that can occur at very high dosages. And so these are some of the side effects to be aware of. Now, bear in mind that again, as I said before, if we're looking at optimizing the dopamine system naturally, definitely consider looking into Catwa Pure. I'll leave that linked in the video description down below. That is a herbal extract from Brazil that has some pretty remarkable effects on my mood, motivation, and also energy. So definitely check that out. You will be pretty amazed by the effects of that particular product called Catwa Pure. I'll make sure to leave that linked in the video description. That wraps up today's video on 9MBC. If you did enjoy the video, please like the video, leave a comment down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.